Welcome to Solo Pro Radio. It's the only resource for self-employed professionals to grow their business. I'm Barbara Saunders, the Solo Pro Business Success Mentor, and it's my mission to help brilliant, creative solo pros go from floundering to flourishing. And I do that as the director of the International Association of Self-Employed Communication Professionals and as the founder of the Solo Pro Academy, where I have programs focused specifically on helping solo pros build a profitable, custom-fit business. Swing on by soloprosuccess.com and pick up your free Income Accelerator Success Kit. If you'd like to join us, zip on over to Solo Pro Radio on Facebook and like our page. You'll be able to ask questions, get to know our co-hosts, and find resources to help you connect and grow. Today, my guest is Shayna Rattler, Diversity Business Strategist and Corporate Marketplace Mentor. Shayna is a highly acclaimed authority in minority business development and the ultimate connector between minority and women-owned businesses and corporate America. She helps these small businesses and corporations cultivate leadership skills and achieve greater success in business development and organizational excellence. Ultimately, Shayna empowers the two to work together more effectively and profitably. She is the person to turn to if you want to grow your small business by working with corporate clients, because she's done so herself. Welcome, Shayna.
Thank you for having me, Barbara.
This should be a fun conversation. I don't think we've actually tackled this topic before, so I'm real excited to dig in here with you.
I'm excited too. It's been really hot lately. Lots of business owners are looking for that next big needle mover, if you will, and working with corporate clients can absolutely be that for you.
Well, excellent. And I do see the trend, as corporate America, streams down its employees, it only makes sense that they want to outsource from other small resources.
Absolutely. There's a couple of things that happen. One, like you said, for a corporation, it's a lot more cost-effective to bring in an outside expert than it is to have a full-time employee. And even full-time employees that they have in the training and development department or whatever the case may be can't handle every single aspect that comes up in their organization. And the other thing that I see is that small business owners, bless our hearts, but when we're marketing to other small business owners, oftentimes we have that dreaded, I would love to work with you conversation, but I just can't afford it. So turning to corporate clients that actually are not only looking to work with us and are dedicated to working with us, they also have the budgets to pay us our top dollar that we're worth as well. So it's a very interesting dynamic that's going on in the corporate marketplace.
That is fascinating, and it's encouraging, I think, for a lot of our listeners especially. Let me ask, I always love to start out, with these conversations with your journey. How did you get from where you were in corporate America to here helping others work with corporate America? What was that journey like?
Well, I've zigzagged and I've hit some walls and lost some money, spent some time in places that I should not have spent them. When I was growing up, my family has always told me that I was unemployable, that I needed to blaze my own trail, if you will. So I've had an entrepreneurial spirit that was planted in me and cultivated as a child. But I'm an occupational therapist by trade, and so shortly after graduating from therapy school, my mother and I opened a staffing agency. And so by the age of 28 years old and as a single mother, I had founded and created 2 successful businesses. So people were coming to me to ask me for advice of, how do you start a business? And then once you start a business, how do you grow a business? So I've been coaching business owners even before I really realized that there was a formal career as a coach. So I started out doing general business coaching, if you will. And so I wanted to really take my business to that infamous next level, if you will. So I started looking at working with corporate clients, adding that to my marketing tool belt. And there just wasn't a lot of guidance out there to show you, how to do it the right way. So I've always been kind of a fixer, if you will. So I decided that rather than to only sell my services to corporate, which I still do, I offer consulting to the purchasing departments of corporations that are looking to work with small business owners. I work in that area as well. But I really wanted to be that catalyst to help women and minorities make their dreams of being a business owner a reality. And so since there was not a lot of help out there to show you how to work with corporate clients the right way, I took it upon myself to be that person.
Yeah, it's really interesting. What was it that made you decide to work with minority and women-owned businesses, especially?
Well, since they're spending $8.73 trillion a year, on goods and services, and 60% of the major U.S. corporations are committed to spending that money with small businesses. And specifically, they have departments and they have goals that they have set within their corporations to make sure that they are spending money with those disadvantaged businesses. And the bulk of those disadvantaged businesses have to be women and minority. They also happen to be the group of people that are starting businesses at twice the rate of other people. They also, coincidentally, happen to be people that are having the most difficult time doing so successfully. So that's why I chose to focus my efforts on the group that I felt needed my help the most.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I did notice back, I think it was 2011, that the number of women-based businesses that were starting up was something like 82% overall, which I thought was astounding. It really is astounding.
Bad part is that less than 2% of women business owners ever break the $1 million mark. So we're starting businesses at a faster rate than anyone else, but we're not at the same rate as other small business owners. So to me, I see that as a sad statistic. And, working with corporate clients is one of the best ways to break that mark. As a matter of fact, there was a study that was put out recently that said 63% of small business owners who have corporate clients make $500,000 more a year. And 70% of small business owners who don't have corporate clients make less than $500,000 a year. So that speaks to how we can go from that missing middle, if you will,
right,
and having such a low number of women and minorities that are breaking that $1 million mark to really help us to be able to get up there with our male counterparts.
That is really fascinating. Women are still struggling with that glass ceiling, aren't they?
Yeah, even, we leave corporate America because we think that that's the answer. And then we get over here on this side and we recognize that there's yet barriers to overcome.
It's just changing maybe the position that you're dealing with, your role in the game, rather than being an employee, coming to it as a business owner. That's fascinating. That's a great point. Let me ask, are there certain industries that work best working with corporate America rather than on their own?
Surprisingly, it doesn't matter. Think of corporations, Barbara, if you will, like small towns. They eventually need virtually any product or service that you can think of. They need products and services to produce their end product or service, and they also need products and services to better run their companies. They commonly purchase coaching of all kinds, trainers, productivity experts, social media gurus, interior designers. I mean, it runs the gamut. I've even seen them hire, like, scuba diving instructors of all things. And they also have things internally, like employee discount programs that our product or service might be perfect for. So there's really not any, in my career, there's probably only been one person that I've seen that didn't make a good fit for corporate, and I honestly can't even remember, because they really do purchase things that you would never even imagine. And they're often looking for outside experts like ourselves, because small business owners are a lot more innovative sometimes than the staff that they have in-house. Mm-hmm. They don't have to go through as many channels to make things happen and to change as sometimes they do within corporate. So they really are looking for us to be able to, to meet their needs.
Well, let's talk a little bit. How would a small business or a solo-based owner of a business get started with getting into working with corporate?
Okay. There's three key things that you'll need to do to get started, and I'll cover each one of them in a little bit of detail. But the very first thing that you want to do is, from the start, you want to make sure that your business is set up to thrive. And what I mean by that is you need to make sure that you have systems and teams and tools in place that can help you to run your business efficiently. Because when you're marketing to individual consumers or other business owners, it may be possible to do that by yourself. But when you're dealing with corporate clients, it's not the case. So you want to make sure that when you get that contract that you're able to keep it. And if you have a team in place, it's more likely that you'll be able to do so. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out and hire a bunch of staff, but you do want to make sure that you have somebody, that's handling those back office functions like customer service and accounting, because you don't want to position yourself in a way that the corporate client has to come to you and your business for every single thing that they need after the contract is awarded. It doesn't, position yourself very well. The second thing that you can do is create a target client list. Because when you consider the vast lucrative opportunities that are out there to work in the corporate marketplace, it can be a little seductive, and we may have a tendency to overextend ourselves. So the best thing to do is to pick 4 or 5 companies to target at a time, so that you can market best to them as well. You may want to consider starting with local companies. And the third thing is to have a strategy for getting your foot in the door. I'm a huge believer that you should make it as easy as humanly possible to get your first contract. And the best way to do that is to go after the lowest hanging fruit. So there's several ways that you can get your foot in the door. But the first way, I'll share a couple with you. The first way is networking. If you're a good networker, it makes your job a lot easier. But the only thing is that everything that we as small business owners have learned about networking aren't necessarily a good fit when your goal is landing corporate clients.
Right.
A lot of the places that we small business owners have a tendency to network at, there's other people that are selling to small business owners, but there may not be people who are in corporate and have the authority to give you a contract.
Exactly.
So you want to make sure that you're hanging out before, during, and after work in the same place that they are hanging out, like industry conferences and trade shows and other places where people from corporate will be. Another way to get your foot in the door is just good old-fashioned email. You want to make sure that once you determine who the decision maker is within corporate, you can start contacting them by sending them an effective email. But you want to make sure that, do all those things that we know about email marketing, like personalizing it and only talking about the benefits. And then the final thing that we'll talk about today for getting your foot in the door is to build alliances with other business owners. And this is key, so I hope your listeners are writing this down. One of the challenges that small business owners have is not being scalable enough or not having the capacity to bid on large contracts. So if you partner with other small business owners, it helps you to be able to compete more effectively. And the 2 ways to partner are either partner with a small business owner that offers the same thing that you offer, or partner with a small business owner that offers a product or service that's complementary to yours.
I absolutely love what you're saying here. I'm nodding my head yes. We teach our people to build, strategic alliances and partnerships with others so they can fill in the blanks for them. That's exactly how I started my original business, which is a publishing design business. I partnered with writers and photographers and print houses that made us actually a good fit for larger companies who were our targets at that market. So that I can kind of attest to that as a really great, powerful way to grow your business and to be attractive.
And I think a good point to make right there, Barbara, is when you look at all the reasons that small business owners don't, consider shying away from corporate clients, is they, one, think, they don't buy what I sell, which is the first question that you asked me.
Right.
And one of the second reasons that I hear that they shy away from working with corporate is they think that they're too small. Well, what about me? I'm just a solopreneur. Well, I am as well. I'm a solopreneur. I have a couple of team members that help me administratively, but when it comes down to actually delivering my service, it's just me, myself, and I, and that's not a deterrent from corporate clients working with you. But it is nice if a large contract comes along, if I can partner with other people that can help me to get that contract, and execute well on it. So don't count yourself out if you feel like, it's just me and my business and I'm a solopreneur. It really does not have to be a hindrance. Most times you can probably do it on your own, or I'm sure that there's probably other people that you can connect with that can help you to get it done as well.
So build your community of colleagues as well as, that's a really great.
You're helping another business owner as well. You're giving them opportunity to go after a contract that they themselves would not have been able to get either. So it's a win-win for everyone.
It's raising the tide and lifting all the boats.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, let me ask you, what can a small business owner do to kind of increase their chances in being successful with, you mentioned emailing the decision makers. what can they do to kind of increase their chances to be taken seriously?
Yeah. It's a lot more simple than what you would probably think. First of all, you need to be prepared, and you can do that in a lot of ways. But the thing that we have to remember is that your success lies in the relationships that you're able to build. An important thing to note is that these buyers at corporate, they're people first. So simply just have a conversation about how what you offer solves their problem. And I want to pause and help you understand something here. Okay. The people that are purchasing from you at these corporations, their primary job responsibility is to find and hire you. So don't get intimidated by their title or that this may be your first shot at this. If you always remember to come from a place of providing value, you'll do great. So, for example, if you see an article that your target client may benefit from reading, or you know another small business owner that may supply their needs, let them know. These points of contact are a great way to stay top of mind with your potential clients, and it also gives you an opportunity to circle around and follow up on your own offerings. So it's all about building relationships. Not only about building relationships with people that can help you to do your job better, but building relationships with people that can introduce you to people who work at corporate. So if you think, I don't really know anybody in corporate, well, think about your neighbors. Do they work at a corporation? And they may not be in the department that's responsible for hiring you, but they may be able to get an introduction. So when you're out networking, you want to talk to as many people as you can so that you can start building those relationships. Because at the end of the day, I can teach you all the tricks of the trade of getting your foot in the door, but if you know someone, it's always going to be a lot easier to get in than if you don't.
Definitely, those 7 points of distance. Let me ask, what should a solo pro look for in a corporate client when they're scaling down their list to that 4 or 5 clients? What should they look for? Is there some criteria that they should?
There definitely is criteria. I believe that proximity is power. So I say go after the corporations that are in your own backyard first. And the main reason is because the people that you need to build relationships with are likely out in the community that you reside in. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is you need to know that the corporation that you are targeting has a true need and desire for what it is that you're offering. And one of the ways that you can know that is, check out their website. Most corporations have a page called Corporate Social Responsibility. And on that page, they're telling you what it is that they care about and the things that they need. Read your business journals. Start looking at what's going on in the news and the things that you're reading with your marketing hat and not just your consumer hat. So look at things that might be going on within corporations that might spark an acute need for your service. For example, has someone just been hired or fired? Has there been a lawsuit or a merger or acquisition? And those types of spark events, that I like to call them, might spearhead a need for your service. So do your homework. One of the reasons I was at a conference last week and I was talking to a corporate buyer, and he says, the quickest way for me not to return your phone call is for you not to understand my needs and know what's going on in my organization. So do your homework and find out that there really is a need, and then contact them and say, hey, I read recently that X, Y, and Z is going on within your corporation, and I help businesses like yours accomplish A, B, and C.
Okay, interesting. Is there some ways, you mentioned like the business journal and reports from outside the company. Is there some ways that you suggest that maybe people can make contacts inside the company for information?
Sure. If you offer, let me backpedal just a second. Corporations purchase 2 different types of things, an indirect purchase and a direct purchase. A direct purchase is all the products and services that they need to produce their end product or service. So, for example, if I'm General Motors, my direct purchases are going to be my nuts and bolts, steering wheels, and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So if you provide a product or service that would be considered a direct purchase, then you're probably going to want to contact somebody in the procurement or the supplier diversity department. If you offer an indirect service, like if you're a coach or a trainer or a photographer or something that just helps them to run their company better, the purchasing and procurement department is probably not going to be your way in. You're probably going to want to contact someone in human resources or training and development. So start to look for who the people are that are responsible for purchasing what you offer and start building relationships with those people. So those are the places that you would want to look for internally. And then externally, outside of their website, start looking at things like, Fortune magazine, they create a list that's the 100 best companies to work for. And that's a great place to start if you offer a product or service that's going to benefit their employees. And, look for those companies who get named to the list year after year. I mentioned the business journals. And then, we can't have this conversation without talking about social media.
Right.
If you're on social media, LinkedIn, their demographics are skewed dramatically to the corporate marketplace. So make sure you're getting involved with groups and making contacts with people within your target client list on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, great resource. Let me ask, are there any, maybe advice that you would give solo pros or a small business on, yes, maybe a touchy question, but maybe on their branding or the way that they present themselves so that they would be more taken seriously?
The first piece of advice that I have is be authentic to yourself. Interesting enough, I was just reading an article in Enterprising Women right before I hopped on the phone with you. And this lady was talking about business etiquette as a woman, and she was saying that to be taken seriously, you need to wear neutral colors and simple jewelry. A crock of crap. Be authentic to yourself, and people are going to gravitate to you when they know that you are being in your natural element. I never wear neutral color. Well, I wear black, but I never wear a suit. I'm not one of those women that shrinks to fit. I always have on, fancy jewelry, not expensive diamonds or anything like that, but I love like a pop of color with a chunky necklace or things of that nature. So when it comes to your branding, the first advice that I give you is don't make it stuffy and corporate. That's one of the reasons that they like coming to us, because of our personalities and because of our ability to be innovative and give them out-of-the-box ways of thinking. Because a lot of times some of the people that are in corporate are so limited that they can't do that. So don't go and overhaul your branding to make everything red, white, and blue and feel like you have to look and act a certain way. First, be true to yourself. And the second thing is just make sure that when you're talking about branding, that make sure that your marketing message communicates what it is that's going to speak to corporate. For example, if you have always marketed your service to small business owners, you may not be talking in the same way is relevant to the bottom line of an organization. So if you have always helped business leaders achieve a certain amount of productivity, and now you want to work with the executives,
right,
you want to focus not only on making sure that it says on your website that you work with executives, but make sure that you have some languaging in there that talks about what does that mean to the organization. And the things that corporations are concerned about is saving money, saving time, making money, all of those things. Just make sure that your branding is clear and that this is the end result that corporate cares about. But as far as that, the branding that you already have in place is probably just fine.
I love that. I can really resonate with what you're saying about, the dress kind of quote-unquote dress code of corporate America. I think that's why so many have shied away. They don't want to have to, get in the banker suit.
Right.
So that's...
And that I know you probably have a lot of women that follow you, and that's the advice that I give you, whether you're still in corporate America or whether you're out on your own. Stop shrinking to fit. Be courageous enough to be yourself. And if you're somebody that likes to wear hot pink, then doggone it, wear hot pink. Don't feel like you have to wear navy blue and pearls. Those days are just gone.
Thank
Hope
God.
I don't offend anybody. Be yourself, and that's what's going to attract corporate clients to you, just like it would attract any other client to you. But same thing. Well, I can't use purple anymore. I can't use, this, that, and the other thing. I've got to look real stale and generic. And frankly, if they wanted stale and generic, they could go within the walls of their own organization. One of the reasons that they're wanting to work with us because they want innovative ideas. You will hear the word over and over and over again in corporate America today. They're looking for ways that they do things differently, and they know that entrepreneurs think in a way that is creative and innovative. So if you come to them and you look too much like what they already have, that might actually hurt you.
That's brilliant advice. I love that. We're going to really use that, I think, to get people to come in and listen to this show, because I think that is really a core aspect that our listeners need to hear, because you're right, they are the innovators. They're the ones who have kind of gone out and thought of new ways to do life as well as business. Well, let me ask, what are some other challenges that you find your clients are facing today in this area?
One of the things that I see business owners do wrong, number one, is that they don't have the capacity. And there's two ways to build your capacity. One, always be a thirst for knowledge. Always be working on your personal and professional development. And the other way to increase your capacity, we've already talked about a couple of times, be willing to partner with other people that give you a larger footprint. One of the other challenges that I see small business owners make is that what they offer is great, but they're not creating a business model that is scalable. And what I mean by that, Barbara, is that they go in and they have this service that they want to offer to a corporate client, and they do it over a time period that limits the amount of corporate clients that they can work with at one time. So you don't want to go in and be offering a 9 to 12-month program where you're there every week and things of that nature, and then you can't work with more clients at one time. So look at what you deliver and offer it in a way, not that you're skimping on the value, but try to deliver it in a way that you can do as much of it as possibly remotely, how you can maybe be in there a little heavy on the beginning and then back off and just come in and check in for accountability and follow-up, but make sure that you're creating scalability so that you can actually have sustainable growth within your organization. And then one of the other problems that I see is that we ignore the numbers. And as small business owners, not only is it important to understand the numbers in our business to know that we're profitable and things of that nature, but corporate clients are very risk averse. So they will be looking at your company not necessarily to see how much money you're making, but to make sure that you don't have a real high risk profile. So they'll use like Dun & Bradstreet and things of that nature. Make sure you have good operational and financial health in your organization as well.
Oh, really interesting. Okay. Now let me ask, you kind of talked about that, knowing your numbers and these sorts of things. It kind of brings to mind my experience with, doing RFPs and things like that way back in the early 2000s. What do you encourage your clients to kind of look for when they're considering filling out a request for proposal?
First, read it word for word and make sure that you can compete. Because even though they have hundreds, if not thousands, of people that are going after the same RFP, somebody who does so really well can stand out, and someone who does really poorly can stand out and stick it in their mind as well. So make sure that you have the capacity to fulfill the contract before you ever even complete that RFP, which is a request for proposal for those of you who are new to that acronym. And if you can't, look for ways that you can partner with other organizations or partner with people who are already in on that contract or have had it before so that you can meet those needs. Because I tell my clients all the time, it's one thing to land a corporate contract, but it's another thing entirely to keep them. And that's really what my sweet spot is that I teach business owners not only how to land corporate contracts, but how to become a successful supplier so that you can meet your client's needs and execute well on the contract after it's awarded. Because your goal is to make sure that your corporate clients become your advocates and that you meet their needs so well that they not only give you repeat business, but referrals to other clients as well. That's when you know that you're really doing well. So when that request for proposal comes out, make sure that you know that you can execute well on that contract. Nothing is worse for the perfect opportunity to come up and you know you're not ready and you put your name in the hat anyway. You could lose your reputation. Back here in the summer when we had the Olympics in London, there was a security company who bid on providing the security for the London Olympics. And I probably messed the numbers up, but just for illustration purposes, I think they were supposed to be able to provide 10,000 security guards, Barbara, and they only had 1,500. Oh. So London ended up having to bring in the National Guard and all these other, military people to come in and provide security for the London Olympics. So I think it's safe to say that the owner of that company is probably at home on the couch. Right. So it can, you do a few things right and you can be pretty successful in this space, but at the same time, if you do a few things wrong, it can make your path very difficult as well.
And that is really important. That reputation is very important in corporate America, even if you're just a supplier.
And it's a very small world. I went to this conference last week, and there were small business owners there, and there were also purchasers there. And they all know each other. Because even though there's a lot of corporations across the country, there's usually one or two people that are the key buyers, and they all attend the same conferences. They're all in the same LinkedIn group, so they all know one another. So word can spread pretty quickly if you're a great supplier, and word can spread just as quickly if you're a poor supplier. So you really want to make sure that you understand your client's needs when you get that contract and make sure that you go above and beyond to be able to meet their needs once you get that contract.
Well, in a way, that's encouraging that there's kind of a small pool of people that you need to get connected with.
It is.
But you have to watch your step as you're going. Maybe listen a little more than talk at the beginning.
And that's why it's good to have someone on your team, to work with a coach, someone that can help you make sure that you are doing the right thing, someone that can have a bird's eye view in your business and help you strategize. You know, even if you're a great hairstylist, you can't give yourself a good haircut. So that's why we all need to make sure that we have a coach or a mentor that we're working with at every stage in our business to make sure that we're not missing anything and that we're always bringing our A game.
You know, that is a really great point. I want to just take a moment here to pause and remind our listeners that you're listening to Solo Pro Radio. I'm your host, Barbara, the Solo Pro Success Coach. And my guest today is Shayna Rattler, the Diversity Business Strategist and Corporate Marketplace Mentor. And with that, I want to jump back into our conversation and ask you, Shayna, if a Solo Pro were considering jumping into this larger corporation network, where would they go for help to get them started?
Good question. The SBA, which is the Small Business Association, and other organizations that are out there, they offer some free services. If you get certified as a woman or minority-owned company, which we haven't talked much about certification, they offer some training, and some corporations even offer supplier development. But a company like mine, we specialize in helping minority and women business owners be successful in this space. And the difference between working with someone such as myself versus some of the other help that's out there is that I actually am a business owner. For some reason, and I'm not sure why, the bulk of the staff at some of these other agencies are bankers or they have a corporate background, but very rarely have any of them ever owned a business. And if you want true business development,
right,
I think it's important to get it straight from the source. Another business owner who has accomplished what it is that you wish to accomplish, regardless of what that is. I figured this process out from a business owner perspective, and I said at the beginning of the call, it took me a while. I zigzagged and hit a lot of walls before I mastered the process. But that's why I'm so passionate about helping other small business owners to make this dream, become a reality. So working with someone like myself or another coach really can give you that key support and guidance. And it can also save a ton of time off your learning curve, and I'm sure that I can save you some Excedrin as well.
Yeah. Great point. And I totally am behind you on that. Walking behind someone who's been down the road helps you to avoid those pitfalls and potholes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask, why do you suggest that women get certified as a women-owned business?
Well, you remember at the beginning of the call, I told you that but corporations are dedicated and committed to spending a large sum of their total amount of money that they're spending every year with small business owners, particularly women and minority. The only way that they can count it, so to speak, they put out their numbers at the end of the year, and they say, this is how much money we've spent with minority business owners, this is how much money we've spent with women, veterans, all the other different categories. And the only way that they can truly count that and prove that they have spent that money with those types of disadvantaged entities is if you are certified. And basically, to go through the certification process just shows that your small business is 51% owned, operated, and managed by what it is that you're becoming certified as, whether it's a minority or a woman.
Okay.
It's just a door opener. It's simply a marketing tool. When you're talking about certification, you really have to learn how to leverage it and make it work for your company. Just like business didn't fall into your lap when you decided to become a business owner, it's not going to magically fall into your lap when you become certified, but it definitely is a deal breaker. It can be a deal breaker. There was a study that was put out a few months ago, and they interviewed 380 corporations, and 90% of them said that certification was a critical factor in determining who to give contracts to. So if you're a woman, if you're a minority, a veteran, a gay, you live in a certain area, it's definitely worth paying the $350 and getting certified, because it can be the differentiating factor between who's going to get that contract.
Okay, and these are just some of the things that people would learn if they come to your Supplier Diversity Academy, is that right?
Correct. That is definitely one of the questions that I get most often is, one, do I have to be certified? And then I show you, how do you leverage that certification and make it work for your business so it's more than just a piece of paper that you have on the wall.
Excellent, excellent. And what are some other things that they might, get as they go through your academy?
I really walk you through step by step, what do you have to do to land your first contract, all the way from opening your eyes to, is this right for your business? And wow, yes, Shayna, I want to do that, all the way through to landing your first contract. And I start to also teach you how you can learn to be a successful supplier so that you keep that contract. And like I said, that guidance and advice was not out there when I got started. So there's a couple of different ways to work with me, but I really do walk you through the process of, how do you develop your target client list? When you find out who the decision maker is within your prospective client, who do you contact? What do you say? I can give you phone scripts, email scripts. I really have made it easy to make this space really work for you and your business.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And if someone wanted to get into that program, all they do is just go to supplierdiversityacademy.com. And is there a newsletter?
DiversityAcademy.com is my primary website. There's some free resources there on the site that you can download that can help you get started in this space. And I'm also going to be having a free training next week that all of your listeners are invited to. And it's called Cracking the Code to the Corporate Contract Maze. And the training, it's going to cover in greater detail how you land your first contract. I'll be sharing some advanced relationship building strategies. I'll teach you how to understand the corporate decision makers and the way they think so that you can make sure that you have solid marketing materials and successful sales meetings. And I'm also going to reveal on that training the number one marketing secret to attracting corporate clients to you. You'll leave that call with clear next steps to becoming a successful supplier in the corporate marketplace. When you sign up for that free training call, you're also going to receive a free copy of my report called Top 5 Mistakes Small Business Owners Make When Selling to Corporate Clients and How to Avoid Them. And you're not going to want to miss this training because one lucky listener is going to win some free coaching with me, but you have to be present on the call to win. So if you're interested in being part of that free training next week, you'll want to go to thecorporatecontractcode.com. Again, that's thecorporatecontractcode.com to sign up, and you'll immediately receive the exact time of the call and how you actually get on that call. Don't want to miss it.
Excellent. And I will put those links, both the link to your Supplier Diversity Academy and to this event next week, up on our website as well as our Facebook page. So we make sure everybody's got it there. Excellent. Shayna, this has been just a really fascinating conversation with you, and kind of a new area for some of our listeners to kind of start thinking about. Is there any last words you'd like to share with them, last bits of wisdom?
I just want to give just a little bit of, inspiration. Like once and for all, as small business owner, let's put an end to that I'd love to work with you but can't afford you conversation. Let's put an end to a business full of mediocre profits. I know that we're experts at what we do, and so many of us just are not getting the financial rewards that we deserve or that we intended when we went into business. After all, we went into business for ourselves to experience three things, and that's freedom, funds, and fun. And I really just want to make sure that I'm doing my part to make sure that we really are making this entrepreneur dream a reality. So, don't shy away from corporate contracts. There is a place for you in there. You just need to make sure that you get the proper support and guidance because it can be done. I've done it. I went from a place of almost being foreclosed on to never having to worry about money again. So I really want to make sure that I can help your listeners learn how to do the same.
Well, excellent. And I really, get behind the concept that you're working with women and, the kind of more distressed groups because we need to, the minorities need to kind of rise up and take our own place, and we have that right. So thank you so much for sharing that message and coming on and sharing what you've got. Again, I want to let our listeners know that they can zip on over to supplierdiversityacademy.com and learn more about what Shayna's got going on. And I want to invite you to join us next week when we have another great Solo Pro guest. Shayna, thank you so much for joining me today. And good luck to you.
And just remember that if you want to participate in the free training, you won't find that by going to my regular website. So you want to make sure that you go to thecorporatecontractcode.com to sign up.
Perfect. And with that, I'm going to say bye-bye for now from Solo Pro Radio.